All right, thanks, Lindsay.
All right, awesome.
Cool. All right, so next up we have Alejandra. Alejandra Warren is here representing Plastic Free Pacifica. However, she is also a board member of Race to Zero Waste. And Alejandra's with the mission of Plastic Free Pacifica is to educate and outreach, do education and outreach to ensure compliance with Pacifica's ban on single-use plastics. But I love their motto of reduce, reuse, and refuse. And Alejandra has a presentation, but maybe just quickly, how that refuse and how important is the refusal part, especially as we're in COVID-19 and restaurants have to, most restaurants are having these single-use items again. How do we refuse?
Thank you, Maria. Can you guys hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, awesome. So yes, that's a great question because that is probably the most important part of our campaign, refusing and reducing, right? So for the refusing part, I think it's really challenging now because we're gonna have to get used to carrying our own utensils. Lots of municipalities in San Mateo don't have a ban on single-use plastic yet, which means if you order anything, they're probably gonna put a bunch of plastic that you don't need, you don't want, spoons, forks, straws, napkins. So it is really important, Maria, that we get vocal in that sense. When we call the restaurant, say, please, no utensils, please, no napkins. Refusing is really important now because they are not thinking about those things now. They have many challenges. Businesses, restaurants have many challenges. So we have to be helpful in that sense and remind them that sometimes less is more.
Cool, thanks. And you have a presentation for us?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the awesome partnership that we have with Race to Zero Waste. Thanks to Teresa and Maria. We are joining forces with the Office of Sustainability, San Mateo, and with the Pacific Beach Coalition. We are working on our campaign, Plastic Free July. I don't know if all of you are familiar with it. It's a global movement trying to teach people how to reduce their plastic footprint. So Maria, are you doing something to reduce your plastic footprint?
It's hard for me because I'm pretty zero waste.
Exactly. The challenges are harder now.
Yeah, the challenges are harder now. But I have not been eating out, even though I've been trying to eat out at least once a week to support local businesses, but I really have stopped that and instead are supporting my local farmers market. And because it's, those are, no plastic, there's plastic free spaces there. So that's how I've been doing it. And I'm talking to more folks, especially my mom and folks who may have never heard of it. And it's really is a challenge for them. So just finding ways to, share that, hey, can you go plastic free for a month? Let's see.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's really important that we are fair with everyone, that we share the idea of plastic free doesn't mean you have to give up all plastic. Plastic free means one single little thing that you do can make a really big difference. We're talking about the straws. We're giving some cool straws as prizes, metal and bamboo. We're working on reusables, better than paper straws, reusables. And there you go, Maria showing us that beautiful, clean, continued cup that we're offering also to people sharing their experiences because we want you to participate. It doesn't matter how small the change is. You don't have to be plastic free. You don't have to be zero waste. And I think that is a really common problem that we have. We're isolating people with the concept of zero waste and plastic free because they think, I'm never gonna be zero waste. I'm never gonna be plastic free. But we just want you to get there one little step at a time. So I want to show you something really cool that I do. That is something small. that you can do at home. I stopped buying body wash a long time ago. So I buy my soap in a bar and then I cut it in pieces and I put it in this little container. So my family gets one little cube of soap, and I don't know why, but it lasts like 3 times more instead of using the actual bar. And this is our soap instead of the plastic body wash. Now, I'm gonna share with you my favorite cleaner, baking soda. Believe it or not, it works for everything. Just give it a try. Vinegar, lemon, baking soda. I think there was a time when they sold us the idea that brands and heavy chemicals were gonna fix our lives, cleaning, make them easier, but it really didn't. It just brought a lot of toxins into our home. So let's try to get rid of those. One more thing, this is a little bit more advanced, I know, but you can start giving it a try. I make my own lotion for my face and my body, and I make my own deodorant. Trial and error. I've been doing this for a long time, but I finally got there, to the texture, to the smell, to the protection I want. And now that we have a little bit more time at home, I think it's time to spend our time discovering what is going to make our life a little bit lighter of trash. Now more than ever, we know that plastic is not only a problem, an imaginary problem, it's a real problem. It's contaminating our water, it's contaminating our air, it's contaminating our food. They've been finding it in every single corner of the planet. So every little thing we do to avoid using plastic is really a big step. What else? Oh, I used to buy bulk, and now it's getting a little bit more challenging with COVID, but I encourage everyone, as soon as they open, just buy bulk. You can buy 30 cents of something, 50 cents, $1. It's really, you don't have to make a $100 shopping spree for bulk. You can buy anything, any amount you want. And you don't have to spend money in zero waste kits. I wanna be really clear about that. You don't have to spend money on bamboo utensils. You don't have to spend money in mason jars. You just have to get a little bit creative and resourceful. And that's why I want to let you know that zero waste is for everyone. You don't have to be wealthy. You don't have to have a high income. You just have to be a little creative. One more thing. Oh, I love this one. This is my toothbrush. I used to use a bamboo toothbrush for a long time, and I honestly didn't love it too much. So I kept doing a little bit of research, and I found this one. I'm not gonna say the brand because we don't wanna get into brands, but it has a replaceable, I don't know if you can see it here, the replaceable head. So I just get 5 of this every year, and that's the amount of plastic that I'm using for brushing instead of the entire handle. So it makes you think, what other things are we using in plastic that are really not necessary? It makes you think, maybe was it the plastic industry trying to sell us more plastic than we actually need? I don't know. We should ask ourselves all those questions and be smart consumers. They're listening to where we put our money. So maybe we stop buying packaged snacks and start buying apples or bananas instead. They're gonna pay attention to those changes that we're making. So I think that's really important too, that we are conscious consumers. And one more thing, let me see. Carry your napkin everywhere. I used to live in the tropics for a long time, and napkin was my best friend. It used to be good for my sweat. It used to be good for replacing paper napkins. You can save so many napkins if you carry your own in your purse. So get used to carrying your straw, your napkin, and your utensils. And that's already something small that you can do to avoid the use of plastic. And I want to hear the ideas. Please join us at Plastic Free Pacifica, Facebook, Instagram. We have prizes. So thank you, Maria.
Cool. Thanks, Alejandra. Any questions out there? about going plastic free or fun challenges maybe that you're doing at home?
I got something. So of the little tiny toothbrush, which was totally cool, what do you do with it when it's done?
Yes, that one is landfill still. Okay. So that's the point, that zero waste doesn't mean have you seen in Instagram when they have that mason jar of waste and they tell you I'm zero waste? That is wonderful, but that's just discouraging people that still don't have the access to all of those options. So we want to show you that you don't have to put your trash in a little jar. You just have to start little by little, making changes right now, every single day, small decisions. That's what we need.
Thank you.
Right on. Any other questions, folks?
I just wanted to say thanks for the great presentation, Alejandra. Sorry, I don't have my camera on, but just not feeling it right now. One of the things that we've started doing in my household is kind of like a little activism is, you know, it's just, we're still trying to support restaurants, as Maria said, during this pandemic, and everything's takeout. But prioritizing going to restaurants that are utilizing at least compostable takeout instead of just the plastic that's not really recyclable, the clamshells, and then letting those places know that we would like to go, that, you know, we really want to support them, or would love to see them shift. It's a similar price point. And I think, you know, from a business perspective, you know, if they hear that 1, 2, 3 times, you know, they're going to assume that there's a lot more people that share that same perspective. So something that we've started doing.
Absolutely. And thank you, Laura, for mentioning that, because in the spirit of continuing to support our businesses, it is really important to create community, in my opinion. We have the same places that we go to get takeout from, Thai restaurant, Mexican restaurant, we have the same spots. They're in our neighborhood, so we know them, they know us. And we are comfortable enough to bring our own glass container. So that's how we get our pad thai, that's how we get our nachos, that's how we get our burritos. Because once we show up with that container and they were like, I don't understand what you want. But after that moment, it became normal. And it's part of our relationship. There are no weird questions. There's no COVID concerns. We're just being very cautious that we wash our containers really well with hot water and soap if you don't have a dishwasher, because the dishwasher is the next step. But we know by now that hot water and soap are really good to kill COVID. So just be, if you're gonna do that, just be really respectful and mindful that you don't wanna put your restaurant owners in a difficult position. So just make sure that they're really sterilized. And I'm sure if you have that conversation with them, they're gonna let you use your reusables. And that's our goal for the future, that we have restaurants understanding the importance of giving that option to customers.
It's interesting to hear you say that. I just wonder, because some of the local ordinances, and they go county by county. Originally, the 7 Bay Area counties had the same ordinances under the public health code for COVID. But now they've strided a bit, and I think maybe San Mateo's is more lenient. Here, it's strictly prohibited, and for them to handle, like, the only way you can use a reusable is if you are the only person handling it. So I haven't had that conversation. I mean, I think that there are certain places that aren't necessarily following that to the letter of the law, but I've heard that from folks before, where they're like, you know, even in grocery stores where I knew it was the county and city ordinance allowing us to use reusable bags, they would say, well, that's not our store policy. You know, so it's just one of those things. I think you're right that we should be asking that question of all of our you know, our restaurants, to see if they would be willing to do it. But I do know that some of the guidance from county health officers does still prohibit that.
Yeah, and COVID is making this absolutely more challenging for all of us working in sustainability. It is really difficult, but it was going to be part of new ordinances happening in Berkeley, in Oakland, San Mateo, and San Francisco. They are really aware that this is a necessity, that we can reduce waste by switching from recyclables to compostables to more strict compostables. We know now that the solution is reusables. So I know that reusables is going to be a really big conversation after COVID. Right now it's a little bit more challenging because we don't want to put people at risk. But yeah, I think in the future we're going to see a lot more options for reusables.
Yeah, we're already seeing them. One of our partners who came on another session, Dispatch Goods, they've been partnering with restaurants and offering reusable containers for delivery. So it's been, they're just in San Francisco, but they deliver everywhere in San Francisco. They're always expanding their partnership. So Laura and other folks, maybe get in contact with them. I put their name in the chat, but they're really good resource, because then you kind of take care of, the COVID, they're within the COVID rules, but they're also offering really tasty meals and supporting local businesses and a local startup.